In this video, I'm going to go over 5 important sets of numbers. So 5 important sets that you will see really everywhere in math once you get past a certain level. The first one I'll introduce is the set of natural numbers. If you don't know what I mean by that, that's just the set of numbers that are the positive integers. So 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I write this n with this funky double bar in the middle, and that's not because I'm just trying to be, I don't know, fancy or whatever. It's because this is how this is written. You can just use the symbol n with the double bar in the middle, and it refers to the natural numbers. And that's actually going to be the same for all of the sets that I introduced. So these 5 sets, I'm doing a separate video on them because they have these names that have these double bars in them, and they are really universally accepted in math to mean what I'm going to introduce here. So the next set is the set of integers. It's the set of all x such that x is an integer. And I know that integer does not start with z, but this comes from the German word for integer that starts with a z, and that is why we have this symbol to mean integers. As a reminder, the integers are all of the positive and negative whole numbers, including 0. The next set we have is rational numbers, and that is denoted by a q. I believe the q just stands for quotient. So this is the set of all x such that x is a rational number, which alternatively can be written as the set of all a over b, such that a and b are integers and b is not 0. Next we have the real numbers. So this is, one more thing about the q. Sometimes you'll see a bar on both sides. Some people will write it like that. Doesn't matter, they both mean rational numbers and both will be understood. Okay, r is the set of all real numbers. And there's not a good second or alternative way to write this as a set because real numbers can take on many different formats. They include the integers, they include the rational numbers, but they also include any other regular number that you can think of, like square root of 2, which goes on forever, or pi, which also has a decimal that goes on forever. So we're not going to write this set in a separate way, but R means the set of all real numbers. Last, we have C, which you might not be as familiar with at this point. It is the set of all x such that x is a complex number. So if you're not familiar with complex numbers, those are numbers that contain the imaginary number I, potentially. The set of complex numbers will include the real numbers, but it'll also include I or I times real numbers. The most precise way to express this is to say that C is the set of all A plus BI, such that A and B are real numbers. And I will just write down a few examples. So I is an example of a complex number. 2 plus 3.1 I is an example of a complex number. And also something like 2.111, some real number. Those are also in the set of complex numbers. This format, A plus BI, such that A and B are in R, includes the possibility that A or B are 0. If you are not terribly familiar with complex numbers, probably don't need to worry about it too much at this point. As you go through your math curriculum, you will definitely get introduced to them. You do need to remember and recognize the symbols for these 5 sets. You will see them everywhere across math. And that is it for this video because I want to leave these 5 sets self-contained.
Such fun.